Recording it now. So hello everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on this Future Student webinar. I'm delighted to have my colleagues from the Department of Applied Social Studies with us. We have Dr. Niamh Flanagan, Dr. Ciara Bradley and Dr. Johanna O'Shea. Johanna O'Shea, beg your pardon. The format of this is fairly simple, and those of you who have joined us before will be familiar with it. We will have a presentation from the academics there, and then after that you'll have a chance to put your questions into the chat function. When you're looking at your screen, it's on the right hand side there. So put them into the chat there, and after the presentation we will go through them. So I'm going to hand over now to Niamh, and she'll start her presentation for you.
Great. Now we'll see if we can get this sharing on the screen. Maybe somebody would let me know if you're able to see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So
is it appearing now? Yeah.
Oh, you've got the first slide.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So you're all very welcome. Myself and my colleagues are from the Department of Applied Social Studies in Maynooth University, and we hope to introduce you today to the postgraduate offerings that we have. So we're going to share the presentation between us. It'd be really nice if this went on to the next slide. No, that's not moving at all, is it? No.
No.
And we tested this in advance and it worked fine, and now it doesn't work. This is the joys of technology, and it won't work here either. So let me stop sharing again for a second and we will try again. So apologies for that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Beginning. Okay, so maybe what we have to do is okay, are we sharing now?
Oh, it's starting to come through. Okay, yeah, it's here.
Great. It's not moving along. So I think what I'm going to have to do is to not see anybody while this is going on. So bear with me for a moment and we'll see if we can make this work some other way. Content only. Don't you just love technology? Oh, did that change slides for you there?
Yes.
Great, we're in business. So anyway, you're all very welcome at last to Maynooth University, which is in County Kildare in Ireland. I'm conscious that because this is an international webinar, people may not be familiar with where we are. So Maynooth University is in the town of Maynooth, and it's about a 30-minute drive from Dublin, which is the capital of Ireland. So we're inland a bit. We're a little bit unusual in that we're not in a city. Most universities in Ireland are actually in a city, but we're in a town. So you get a sense of the fact that we have countryside all around us there from the image you're seeing on the screen at the moment. We've one main street down the centre of the town, and the university is right at the end of that. It's right on the banks of the canal, so there's beautiful countryside all around us. It's also a very historic town. The university itself dates from the 1790s, and there's two colleges on the campus. There is St. Patrick's College, which was the original college, and then we also have Maynooth University, the secular university. That's the larger of the two, and that's where we're based in applied social studies. So that gives you a sense of where we sit nationally and in terms of on the campus. The Department of Applied Social Studies, which is where we all work, has a very strong mission which really underpins an awful lot of what we do and the way we do it. So our mission is to promote human rights, social justice, equality and sustainability. We want to do that both nationally and internationally, and we want to achieve that through excellence in innovation in education, in research and in public engagement. And we do that through contributing to the development of the social professions and the applied social studies. So as we talk through our various inputs, you'll get an understanding of what we mean by this lofty mission that we have. The Department of Applied Social Studies has 3 parts to it, or 3 different divisions within it, and we all cross-teach and engage with all of the other sides of the house. But we have a social policy side to the house, that's where I come from. We have a social work side to the house, that's where Johanna is the lead, and Ciara is the lead for community work and youth work. So it's a dual qualification on that side of the house as well. So what does the department look like? It's a medium-sized department. We have around about 300 to 350 students, and our students come from very diverse backgrounds, both in terms of age, nationality, location, the background, their experiences. So there's a lot of diversity within the department. In terms of the class sizes, we range at postgraduate level from about 10 up to 50. So a lot of opportunity for small group engagement and discussion within the classrooms. We strive for educational excellence, but we're also very focused on our students. So we have a student-centered ethos. We commit to students flourishing and succeeding. That's what we want to achieve. And we try to have an open door policy with a key pastoral focus. And I'm sure that's probably a big issue for people who are coming from outside Ireland, and maybe it's your first time in Ireland. So we do try have a focus on that in collaboration with our colleagues in the international department. We also strive for equal access to education. And with that in mind, we have an opportunity for people to apply and gain access to the courses, even if they don't necessarily have the qualifications. They may have experience that actually makes them eligible for the program. So we do recognise prior learning in that respect. In terms of the academics who teach on the programme, a lot of our academics are practice informed, be that in the social professions or in policy or research. But we also look outwards in that we try to inform and change both policy and practice in everything we do. So that's why we would say we have an applied focus, or why we're applied social studies. In terms of our programs, I'm just going to give you a really quick overview, and then Johanna and Ciara will bring you in more detail into the programs. At undergrad level, we have a Bachelor of Social Science, Social Policy, and we have a Bachelor's of Community Work and Youth Work. Now, we're not going to focus on those today because today's purpose is the postgraduate programs. So at master's level, we have 3 master's programs. One is a community and youth work master's program. I don't know what the word social is sitting at the end there for. The next line then is rights and policy. That's our master's in social policy. And we have a master's in social science, social work as well. In addition to that, we have what we refer to as transition or conversion programs. So we have a HDIP in social policy. Again, I'll give you more details on that later on, but that's basically for people who maybe don't have social policy in their existing qualifications, but would like to go into policy or would like to go into social work. So the HDIP is a 1-year program which allows them to transition into those particular areas. We also have a BA applied in social studies, and this would be typically for people who have a social profession to a level 8, which is the equivalent of an ordinary level degree or a pass level degree. So it's an opportunity for people to get that extra year, which will give them a level 8, which again then gives them access into master's level programs. And then finally, we have doctoral studies, and Ciara is going to talk about this in more detail. We have a doctorate in social science, and we have PhD by research. So that's an overview of what we cover. And now I'm going to hand over to Johanna, who's going to talk about social work.
Okay, if you can move the slide on, Niamh, great. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Johanna O'Shea, and I am the program lead here for social work at Maynooth University. We've had social work here. We're into our 7th year now. We started in 2019 with a Master's of Social Science, Social Work. It is a full-time course. It's 2 years, and it's recognised and approved by CORU, which is the health and social care regulator here in Ireland. Social work is a protected term in the Irish context, so only people who have qualified from an approved course or whose qualifications have been recognised by CORU, if you're coming from abroad, are allowed to use the title social worker and are eligible to register on the social worker register in Ireland. It is not possible to work as a social worker in Ireland without having your name on the social work register. So that's a really important point to make. Our course here, the 2-year course at Maynooth University, is approved. We've recently been reapproved for a further 5 years. It's a 2-year course. Semester 1 of each year is on campus, and currently there are 3 days a week on campus. 1 day is self-directed study and half a day is online, live online. The second semester of each year is a 14-week professional placement guided by a practice teacher in the field and with the support of a tutor from the university. We have a 15,000 word dissertation, which is completed the second year. Now, please write into the chat your questions and answers on social work, or questions. I'll provide the answers if I can, on social work now during this part of the presentation, and we might deal with those immediately afterwards, if that's okay. So, admission, you need to have a 2-2 at least, or 50% to pass in a level 8 degree. If you come through the traditional route, your a level 8 degree in a relevant discipline. So relevant, absolutely. So the way to really to think their lives and are accessing services, whether that be from the statutory sector or the NGO sector or voluntary sector, then that wherever social workers would work, then that is a relevant experience. Working in a creche, not necessarily. It may be you're working with children, but that's not necessarily, most people will send their children to a creche. That's not necessarily where they're experiencing social problems in their lives. So 420 hours relevant experience is important, and the application is all on the Maynooth University website, where all details are on there. From next year, we are going to admit people through the recognition of prior learning on there. So if you think, look, my degree isn't at the level that's required, or it's not relevant, but is very relevant, please look at the detail on the website. You may be able to make. So what's there to say about the group? I mean, we 2 years, so the group size is about 40. We have a very diverse group. We're very at Maynooth. We have a very diverse group. We have a high percentage of first generation Irish, so immigrants into the country, or second generation immigrant families who send their who study here at Maynooth. We also have the Indigenous minority groups, so people from a traveller background who choose Maynooth over other universities in the region. I've just been teaching the first years this morning, and I asked them, there's 6 weeks here, would they recommend the course to international students? And they said, absolutely. Yes. So they've been with us for 6 weeks, and they are saying this is it's very enjoyable. They enjoy the small group, they enjoy the diversity and the accessibility of Maynooth to Dublin and the capital city here in Ireland is a real plus point. So you can live on the edge of the city and enjoy all of the so I'm going to leave it at that. Questions that I will answer immediately. There's one. Do we get an admission decision after February only? No. If you apply, we are going to start. You can apply now. The applications are open, but we will only be shortlisting, and you will certainly know in late January. If you have met it, 2 people will interview you and they will immediately. But yes, it is likely to be February in as soon as possible. Say that all applications will be shortlisted. If you meet the criteria in person for the interview, we will. For a place, you will be offered a place immediately. Course closes on the 13th of February. I would strongly at the beginning of January at the latest, because we will start shortlisting in January. If 13th of February, we will certainly shortlist them on a waiting list. Any other questions? There's in the chat. Will the slides be shared afterwards? I presume so. Deirdre, could you answer that? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the session is being recorded, and if it's okay with you, Niamh, yeah, we absolutely share the slides and that afterwards. Yeah, of course. That was great. Thank you very much, Johanna. Ciara, will we hand over to you next, if that's okay?
I think it's me next. We're keeping the best to last with Ciara. So moving on then to look at, and the reason we put this here is that this is the higher diploma in social policy, and this is an avenue that people will often take if they don't have the social policy criteria that Johanna spoke about. So if somebody has, say, a degree in engineering and they want to go on and be a social worker, they will need to have, in addition to the other criteria, the grades and the experience, they will need to have a social policy component. So in that situation, people will often apply for the 1-year higher diploma in social policy. So this is basically a level 8 qualification, which is designed for people who want to have a little bit more, or if they want to go into the area of policy with a view to going on to social work, or with a view to specialising in social policy. So I should have said at the beginning, all of the slides actually have a QR code at the top where you can access information on the website. So you'll get a little bit more information there than we're giving in this live presentation. The higher diploma in social policy is usually a 1-year program, although we do offer it on a part-time basis over 2 years if somebody wants to do that. What we basically do is that somebody who's taking this course will pick a selection of modules from the undergraduate bachelors of social science. So they'll be able to pick and choose the particular areas they're interested in. So if, say, for example, you were interested in going into social work, we'd be recommending that you take the module on social professions, maybe the module on child and family, maybe the module on aging. So picking and choosing the modules that will be of most relevance to where you want to go to with this qualification. I've listed up the side there a number of the different topics that are covered, because you're picking from 3 years of courses. So there's a big range of things that you can actually choose from in that respect. In terms of the admission criteria, very similar to the Masters in Social Work, 50% minimum in a level 8 qualification. It doesn't have to be a social science or cognate discipline, because the idea of this program is that it will allow you move into the social sciences or social policy or the social work or the social professions. And we do look for an English proficiency test, and that is simply so that we know that you're going to be able to keep up with the program when it's actually running, because it's all run through English. And the closing date for this course is the 30th of June, and you apply via the Maynooth University online application portal. So another course that is quite similar to that is the BA Applied Social Studies. This is again for people who have a professional qualification. Typically for us, it's somebody who has community work or youth work or nursing, and they have that to a level 7 qualification. So that's an ordinary level degree or a pass level degree. And they want to top that up with a 1 year so that they're able to say they have a level 8 for where they want to go to with their career. Again, this is 1 year full-time, and like the higher diploma in social policy, you pick and choose the relevant modules from the undergraduate diploma or the undergraduate degree in social science. Again, exact same subjects, that's why they're going up the screen a lot faster this time. Admissions criteria, same as the higher diploma, minimum 50% in a level 7 degree. You don't have to have a cognate in the social sciences. Again, English proficiency, and the same closing date of the 30th of June via not the MU Apply this time, but this time you apply directly to the Department of Applied Social Studies. So you write directly to us and we manage applications from that. So there are 2 transition or conversion programs. I'm going to move on now and talk about the master's level program in social policy. So this is a Master's of Social Science in Rights and Social Policy. We offer this in 2 different modes. One is full-time, one is part-time, and they overlap significantly, but I'll deal with them separately so that you have the full information. So this particular program is for people who are interested in contributing to a progressive and equitable society through policy or development of policy, analysing policy or researching policy. It's offered on a 1 year full-time basis. We also have the part-time, and I'll speak about that separately. The thing that's a bit different about this program is that it's run all day Friday and all day Saturday. So the main reason we do that is so that people can continue to work in the field that they're in, or they may have other commitments that they need to attend to. So, so it is a very intensive course on Friday and Saturday, but the idea is that you can actually continue with your work. We find quite a lot of people who come on this course are already working in a particular area, maybe working in education, maybe they're working in, we've had people from the guards, from nursing, from the social professions, and they want to top up with a policy qualification. So that's the main reason it's on a Friday and a Saturday. There are 5 core modules, and these are largely in the first semester. So this is like learning the tools of the trade in terms of policy. So we teach analysis, writing and influencing policy, research, equality and inclusion, which is the first module because that underpins everything else that we do, and then realizing rights. Then in the second semester, you choose your choice module. So this is where you pick the kind of areas that you really want to specialize in. So we have child and family policy, criminal justice policy, health and mental health, human trafficking, gender, education, housing and environmental justice. Now, we do say to everybody we operate a quota system. So in other words, we let people vote with their feet. If a module doesn't hit the quota, we'll hibernate it for that year and we'll ask you to pick a different module. So that way we can give people the maximum amount of choice, but not spreading the classes so small that it's not possible to run them. So that's a sense of what's involved in the program. There's a dissertation as well. If you're doing it in 1 year, you've got to do your dissertation in addition to doing all your modules. So that can be heavy going. So be prepared for an intensive year's work if you choose this particular master's program. In terms of admission criteria, unlike the other programs, this one has a minimum entry of 55% in a level 8 degree. We do ask that you would have a social science background or a cognate degree, or at least have social policy as a major component. But we will, however, look at an interest or experience in the area of policy if you're not coming with the qualification. Again, we recognise prior learning as well, and we would ask people to apply for that if they don't feel that they have the full qualification that we're asking for. And again, application by 30th of June via the MU Apply system. In terms of the part-time version, it's very similar in terms of well, it's identical in terms of the admission criteria. This runs on 2 years, on a 2-year basis. It's 2 years part-time, but it still runs on the Friday and the Saturday. What's different between full-time and part-time is that you may not take as many modules. So for example, in year 1, you'll take 4 core modules, a few optional modules, and you will take other modules that they are basically going on with the full-time basis. So the idea of that is that you will have less Fridays and Saturdays, but you will still have Fridays and Saturdays throughout the year. Then year 2, you will take 1 core module. That particular one is policy analysis. That's very closely related to your dissertation because you'll do your dissertation in second year. Which would I recommend? I think the 2-year one is probably easier on you. It's not as intensive. You get to learn the tools of the trade and then do your dissertation in the second year. However, some people want to get the programme done in 1 year, and for other people, if they're claiming the SUSI grant, which is the national grant for people in higher education, that's not available for people who are doing the programme on a part-time basis. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of the policy masters. So I'm going to hand you over to Ciara now, and Ciara is going to tell you a little bit about the community and youth work and the doctoral programme.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Ciara Bradley and I'm an Associate Professor in Community and Youth Work and the Programme Lead. So I'm delighted to be here with you today. I'll first tell you a little bit about what is community work and what is youth work in the Irish context. So community work is a process of working in, alongside and with communities, guided by principles of equality, social justice, participation, empowerment, with a collective analysis on social issues aimed at collective action for social change. And youth work is an educational and developmental practice underpinned by a core set of values, very similarly, empowerment of young people, equality, inclusion, social justice and voluntary participation. And our programme, the Masters in Community and Youth Work, is a jointly endorsed Masters programme. So you get your professional endorsement in youth work, your professional endorsement in community work and a level 9 master's degree. It's for you if you're interested in working in equality, in human rights and in working collectively and in solidarity with people experiencing marginalisation in society. So we also have 2 versions of the programme. We have a 2-year full-time master's and for this programme it's 3 days a week on campus, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. The other days are reserved for organisational visits. So we go out to places where community work and youth work are practiced. You visit the projects, see the areas that they exist in, and speak to the staff, the community workers and youth workers in those spaces. We have comparative study visits, one to the north of Ireland, either Derry or Belfast in recent years, and also a comparative study visit to a rural part of Ireland. Traditionally, we always went to Inisheer. Now we go to different parts of the country and we alternate it on a 2-year basis. So this year, students are going to the southeast of the country and meeting our community partners and having an immersive experience in a rural setting. As well as that, we have 14-week full-time fieldwork placements in each year of the programme. In first year and in second year, these happen in semester 2. And in semester 2 of the second year, there's also a practice research project constructed like a dissertation, but focusing on the practice of community work and youth work. So the admissions criteria then are similar to social work. You need a 50% in a level 8 degree, so that's a 2-2 qualification in your level 8 degree. It doesn't have to be social science. This year we have students from business, students from sports science, and students from the sciences, as well as people from education and from social science. Every year we have a diverse kind of cohort of students with different experiences, which we really embrace because it brings different kinds of knowledge and experience into the classroom. We also consider a recognition of prior experience and prior learning may be considered if you don't have the level 8, depending on the experience that you do have. And the application should be in by the 30th of June via the MU Apply or Maynooth University online application portal. So we have a parallel program, which is our part-time in-service program. So this is part-time and it's over 3 years, but you must be already working in community work or youth work to participate, and you must have the support of your employer. And the main reason for this is because that you do a reduced external placement because of the experience you have on an ongoing basis in your workplace. So you're doing one external placement of 7 weeks and 2 internal placements of 7 weeks each. So typically the internal placements happen in year 1 and year 3. In year 1, so you get used to the rhythm of the study and all the demands that are on you as a full-time worker and a student. The external placement happens in year 2 with support from your workplace organization, and then the second internal placement happens in year 3 while you're also doing your research project. We run this in 2 different ways depending on the year and the cohort of students that we have. If we have sufficient group of students, like at the moment we have 20 students in year 3 of this program, and they work in a block and blend manner. So we have a Tuesday evening class from 6 to 9 p.m. and then 4 times during the year they come into the campus and have a block session on a Thursday, Friday and Saturday. That has been working over the last 3 years. Where we don't have a cohort like that, students can actually begin the program, but they're taking a route that they work in the classroom with the full-time students, and we support them to come up with a schedule that suits their workplace and participation in the modules. So it's kind of a more tailored individual route. Both work very well, and we've had students successfully graduate and continue to work and progress within their own organisations and progress to other future further employment as well. Similar to the full-time, there's the dissertation or practice research project in year 3. So the admission criteria are the same as the full-time programme, 50% in a level 8 degree. It doesn't have to be social science. RPL is not relevant in this case because you're working and it's about being in the workplace in community work or youth work. And you need to apply by the 30th of June. So that's the Masters of Social Science in Community and Youth Work, both the full-time and the part-time in-service programmes. So I'm going to move now to the doctoral programme. So this is a Doctor of Social Science. It's a practitioner-led doctoral programme, and it's for people who have completed a level 9 master's or equivalent level 9 academic qualification, ideally in a social science discipline, and where people have been working in the field of broadly social policy, community work, youth work, social work, or in a human rights focused organisation or another community-based organisation, and have that professional experience, and where they're interested in combining their academic achievements with an excellence in professional education to focus on developing a research skill and perhaps a research career that contributes to the realisation of rights for marginalised groups. So it's a 4-year programme. It's a group setting for your doctoral study. At the moment we have 10 students who have just started in year 3 of the 4-year programme. And we have other students who are completing their research in year 4 and some of them in year 5 who took the part-time route. In year 1 and in year 2, students come from on campus for a blended delivery in 3 to 5 day blocks. We have live, online and self-directed learning as well to complement this. And then, so there's 8 modules, there's 15 credits per module, 4 modules per year. And during this time, the assessments are very much about developing students' writing skills and social science, the depth of the social science knowledge, and preparing people to be able to undertake independent research. In year 3 and year 4, students work on their original research project, and they're supervised by colleagues from across the department. So you met Johanna and you've met Niamh here and myself, and we have a range of colleagues in each of our units, and we work collaboratively together to support students to complete their independent research project. The final thesis is approximately 50 to 60,000 words. And really, this is a great diverse learning opportunity in small groups. It's collegial and it's challenging, but it's quite supportive in terms of the doctoral level study. Our admission criteria are the Master's Level 9, as I mentioned, plus 3 to 5 years. We have 5 written here. We have been looking at bringing people in with 3 years experience, post qualifying professional experience, just to create opportunities for younger people to progress into academia at an earlier stage. Sorry that I didn't update that. But anyway, 3 years. If you have 3 years experience, you're very welcome to apply. And in any case, please come and talk to us if you're considering this as part of your pathway, either now or in the future, because we can best guide you to get the experience that you need if you're not at that stage yet. So please do reach out to us. We invite you to apply in MU Apply, and the closing date is also the 30th of June. Now, finally, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the PhD, or Doctor of Philosophy in Applied Social Studies. And this is our second doctoral programme, but this is a more traditional PhD route. So it's where students can study for 4 years full-time or 6 years part-time, and develop an original self-directed research study in an area of your choice that you're interested in. And we welcome proposals in a whole range of areas that are listed below: poverty and social exclusion, community work, youth studies, social work, housing inequalities, gender inequalities, health, mental health policy, child and family policy, drugs, education inequalities, environmental justice, race equality, criminal justice, hate crime, disability policy, human trafficking, aging, care inequality. There's a whole range, and there's others not listed. And if you feel that your research interest fits with our mission, which Niamh introduced at the very beginning, please do reach out and talk to us, and we can again consider who might be available to supervise and what are the options for developing a proposal. So the final thesis in this case would be 80,000 words, but you also have to complete between 30 and 90 taught credits, which help you to develop the transferable research skills or subject-specific skills to help you progress in your own research. So the admissions criteria are a minimum of a 2:1 degree. We do encourage people to have a master's to help develop your writing skills, but really come and talk to us if you're interested, because it varies depending on the person and their academic and life experience and professional experience. Applications are accepted on a rolling basis following some discussion, and so please do reach out, and my email address is there. Okay, thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Yeah.
So, the postgraduate fees and scholarship, there's a link on the page here. There's a variety of ways in which there are methods of scholarship. At the moment, the John Hume Scholarship is open. For example, there's Government of Ireland scholarships and various others, which are available, and more information available on the scholarships webpage. And then for specific questions relating to specific fees for any of the programs, you can see that link and scan the QR code for more information. So now we're going to move to an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have. You might like to put them into the chat and direct them to us about any of the programs.
Sure, there's one there, Ciara. It was mentioned, I can't remember which particular program it was, but it was looking obviously for English test results and that. Would students need to have them submitted as part of their application? Do you need to see that in January, February when you're maybe shortlisting and preparing for interview? Because a lot of our students would be preparing for their English exams, but they take them in late spring and that in time for their visa application. But I mean, if you need them earlier, we'll just make that clearer to them that they must have them by the new year.
Okay, so I'd say each program might be different because our closing dates are different. For social policy and for community and youth work, our closing dates are June. So the springtime would be absolutely fine for that. I don't know the answer, and maybe Niamh knows the answer to the question around social work, because their application closes in February and the places can often be offered because there's such demand. So
My understanding of what happens in social work, I say apologies, Johanna had to go, is that it will, before the person starts, they will be required to have the test finished. If they apply and they haven't got it finished at that stage, they may be placed on a reserve list, and then if they don't achieve the English proficiency, then they wouldn't be able to take up their place, and it would be offered to the next person on the waiting list. So the sooner the better, really. But I think there is flexibility there if everything else was in order. And I suppose the staff are going to have interviewed this person as well, so they will have a sense from the interview whether or not somebody will be able to manage the program, whether they have a suitable English proficiency. So the sooner the better, really, but there is a bit of flexibility there.
No, that's great. That's perfectly clear. That's fine. We'll make sure that our agents know that, and also our overseas recruitment team, that they know that too, so that they can advise students accordingly. I don't see any other questions there just for the moment. So if you have them there, please feel free to put them into the little chat box there on the right-hand side of your screen. While we're waiting, let me just give you a little bit more information on Maynooth. Some of it has been covered already, our location, where we are and that. The beauty of Maynooth is that we are on the edge of Dublin city centre, as been said, direct bus and train links. So you have the lovely small university community feeling and atmosphere here, but equally you have all the activities and social side of Dublin city on your doorstep. We're also only a short flight away from the major European capital cities and other destinations. So it's very possible, and always happens with our international students, that they travel and they explore a lot of Europe while they're studying here with us. We offer accommodation for our international students, both on campus and off campus. Demand is very high for on-campus accommodation. We can't guarantee it for all students, but we will tell you when it's time to apply, when you need to do something. And we also have our student pad team, and they will help you find off-campus accommodation. As I said, Maynooth is a small university community. Everything is within walking distance. So even if you're off campus, sharing a house with other students, you would be maximum maybe 20 minutes walk back to the university. And the location, like the physical location of the university, we're in the heart of everything here at Maynooth. All the amenities in the local facilities that are all within walking distance. The application portal has been open since last month or so, so we are taking in applications right now. We will share this, the webinar and the slides afterwards, so you'll know the precise closing dates for the particular program that you might be interested in. But we are taking the applications in now. So please apply. You will need all your academic transcripts, your degree certificates to date, and if possible, also your English language test score. We'll take them up to 2 years old. As an international student, you can work here part-time, up to 20 hours a week, but I must stress your coursework must come first. Absolutely. So please, when you're making your financial plans, when you're budgeting to come and live and study here, please treat a part-time job as an additional luxury, an additional, income stream. But really, your studies and your placements should come first. When you've finished, when you've qualified, when you have your results ratified by the university, you can then apply for the 1G, for the stay back visa. That's for 2 years. That's for permission for you to continue living here, continue being in Ireland while you look for work. You don't have to have a job offer in hand when you move from a student visa to the graduate visa. You can start looking and remain here for 2 years if you want to. There's no obligation to do that. You can equally go home after your qualification from us. Again, on the slides, I saw it there that Ciara and Johanna and Niamh very kindly shared their email. So they don't mind you contacting them at all if a question comes into your head after this webinar. Maynooth in general operates an open door policy. We're very relaxed, very informal here. Lecturers, academics are always available for students, either current students who are here with us or those who will join us next year. So please feel free, if you have any questions, just email them directly and they will get back to you. Just checking again, just with no new questions in there. Scholarships have been mentioned, and in addition to the Government of Ireland and the John Humans and that, the International Office ourselves, we will be offering scholarships too. We're just finalising them at the moment, but again, we'll let you know when you need to do something. So if you get an offer from us, you could be eligible for a scholarship, and we will tell you when it's time to apply and what you need to perhaps upload or a personal statement or something like that. They're not active just quite yet, but when they are, we will let you know. So it's just gone about 45 minutes or so into this webinar. This is probably your last chance to throw a question or two into the chat there, or any comments or any queries at all. Please feel free to put them in there. I think Niamh and Ciara can stay with us for another moment or two to answer them. Johanna is back with us, which is great.
So maybe Johanna could tell us a little bit about I hope we gave the right information about the English proficiency, Johanna, that it's required, but not necessarily at the point of application, but definitely before somebody starts the course. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry, I had to leave for a few minutes there.
There was a question there, Johanna, just wondering, with the shortlisting in January and interviewing in that, and February, the deadline, do students have to have a current English test score by then, or would that affect their application if they didn't have it in hand? Because typically a lot of international students will be preparing for the English test, but they take them maybe in March or April in preparation for the visa application.
Yeah, well, the process at Maynooth University is that it goes to the admissions office first. There's a sort of an initial screening, so they will only release it over to the department as things currently stand when they have met that criteria of the English language test. So when they need to get that done as quickly as possible, yeah, in January, I would say, and they will be released over to the department then for us to shortlist against our criteria and invite for interview.
Okay, and just for argument's sake, if a student didn't have the test at that point, would you consider them for interview if they were planning to do the English language test, you know, in the coming weeks? Because it's quite typical for international students to get conditional offers on producing their English language test, you know, maybe 6 or 7 weeks after the offer.
It's something then that we will need to follow up with the admissions office that they
That's
release.
okay. Yeah, sure, that's fine. No, I just want to.
We wouldn't object to that. No,
Sure.
absolutely, we will shortlist, but it's just a technicality then that we make sure that admissions release them through to us. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, no, just so that we're passing on the right information to our agents and our recruitment team overseas. That's great, Johanna. Thank you very much. I don't see any other questions coming in there. So perhaps it's just coming up to 10 to. I'd like to thank you all so much for giving up your time today. Thank you so much for sharing all the fantastic detail on all your, from the HDIP to the masters and right up to doctoral level, all the information there for the students. We will send it on to them afterwards. So thank you again. You can leave the call now, and I will share the recording when it's processed and that. All right, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.